Now the next project I'm going to be working on in the garden stake range from Mosaic, and you just put the metal in the base there, like that. This is the medium size, so this could go into the top of a pot plant, or their smaller ones could go into the pot plant. They go larger again, and then they would need to go into the garden. Of course, those larger ones have larger stakes. So these are quite fun to do. And what I'm looking at doing is putting a daisy perhaps down here, or half a daisy, and then part of the daisy down here as well. This daisy I made from my very large outdoor gazing ball, and so I took one from the ones I'd prepared, and I thought this would probably work quite well for this. And I'm going to probably be making some glass sleeves using this beautiful stained glass, and I've got a couple of different other colours here as well. So between that and the daisy, I think it'll look really quite good. Now before you start adhering things down on the heart, make sure that you check both sides, because one side or both sides could have a plastic film on it. And you want to make sure that you peel the plastic film off the side you're going to be adhering the tessera down onto. Because if you don't remove that film and you adhere your tessera to that plastic film, it's all just going to lift off. So make sure that you do check that. I'm going to leave this side with the plastic film on, because when I grout, this will help protect this side. And then when I finish grouting and it's all cleaned up, then I'll remove this side with the plastic, or remove this plastic film from this side. Well, I've laid half the petals down, or a bit over half. All I did was just remove them from there and lay them down. I actually don't have any cutting to do, because I've laid them down so that the edges are pretty well flush with the edge of this. I don't want any petals sticking over. So I'm looking for that nice flush edge, which I've got here. And I will start adhering these ones down. Now I'm currently using MAC glue because I have it in stock. MAC glue is no longer being produced. However, they are working on a new formula. So you could use other glues like Prep Multi-Use Adhesive, which is an Australian product. Or you could also use Sidal Fixol Crystal Clear, which is like a silicone type of product. However, it doesn't contain the solvents that silicone does, but it works similar to how silicone does. There's lots of glues that you can use. It's just what you would like to use and what's going to work for your project. So all I'm going to do is now just start adhering these down. I will just put a bit of glue onto this petal here, and then just set that down. Now what I'm also going to take off is this, the center, and I'm just going to nip this in half. Actually, will it be half or will it be more than half? Actually, it'll be a bit more than half. So I'll just nip that across there. Just give me a bit of an idea. All right, now what I'm going to do is get this one, and I'll remove these and put them up here. I'm just going to roughly draw it. I'm eyeing it and going to now cut it. It's pretty good. That works. Then that should go in there. If not, I can cut a new yellow piece. I'll glue this down now. And I wonder whether that's actually going to fit in there now. I mean, it'll fit, but I wonder whether it's going to be big enough. I'll cut a new one, I think. I just thought I'd show you how I'm going to do it for those people that want to see me cut the centerpiece. And really all I'm going to do is just wing it. I'm just going to gauge it and just wing it. I could get a piece of paper or plastic and put over it and then trace around with a texter and then transfer that onto the stained glass. But for me, I'm just going to eyeball it. I think that'll be all right, and we'll see how good I am at it. It's a bit hit and miss, I know, but we shall see. And then we're just going to cut that out. That's pretty good. Now what I need to do is just trim off the top part to make it a bit more rounder. another look and see. Yeah, that's better. So I'll stick that down as well. What I love about these is that you could use up all your scrap stained glass or your tiles or whatever you've got laying around to create a very simple design. So you could really churn these out quite quickly actually if you wanted to, and sell them at markets or in shops or give them as presents. So the design can be as complex as what you'd like or as simple as what you'd like. But yeah, I do really enjoy using these because I have quite a bit of little offcuts of glass, and I could easily just do just lay a whole heap of different colors down and it would still look really, really good. So I'm going to let this just sit up for a while, and then I will come back, and while that's doing that, we'll cut some leaves. So I'm just going to vacuum this area up. Now the leaves, I'm thinking about doing it out of this glass and perhaps a piece of this glass, but I'm looking at both sides because I want to choose the best side, or I may use both sides. So we'll see how we go. Now I'll just bring that in to gauge the sides of the leaf that I'm actually looking at. Okay, so I really like this, and I love all this different texture and pattern here, so I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use this side. I'll just see how we go with this. I don't want them overly large, but I don't want them overly small. I might do a combination of both. I'll just see how I go. Especially if you want smooth edges, you need small nips or like a grinding type action. But if you don't want the smooth edge, well then you can do bigger nips, and that will give you like a serrated edge, which some leaves have. So it's a personal preference as to what you really like. I might do one a little bit smaller. Now sometimes I cut forward, and at the moment I'm cutting backwards, and so it depends what I'm cutting and the look that I'm actually after. So it is a personal preference. Yeah, that looks quite good. Okay, I'm going to cut another one of these in the larger one. Something like that, I think. I like to have a leaf up here though. I kind of like that edge of having a leaf up there. I might just, I'm going to look at doing something. I haven't done this before. Let me have a look at the glass. Yes, that looks quite good. So I might actually, my texture, put the glass underneath, draw around, and then do something like that. Just something I'm trying here. I'm not saying it'll work, but now this is where I can get my grinding pad, my diamond grinding pad, and just sand around that edge there. Or I can use my stained glass grinder because it is going to be the edge and I want it to be reasonably smooth. But I kind of like that. I kind of really do like that going around that edge there. It's interesting how we all have different ideas when it comes to design. I mean, some people probably like that, some people probably don't. Actually, put a comment down in the bottom of the comment section of the YouTube channel and let me know whether you like that leaf up here coming around like that, or whether you prefer not to have it up there at all. It'll be interesting to see what people's opinions are on it. There, I think that looks a lot better. I have changed this to, all I did was just cut out a slice of this leaf here, just so it slots in a little bit better and cleaner there. And I think that looks much better as well. So there you go. I think that looks really good. So I'm going to glue these down and then we'll come back and we'll start filling in the background. There you go. I think it's looking quite good. I did make one addition, and that is that I added this leaf into the design, which I was tossing up about. I wasn't really sure whether I was going to or not, but I think it balances it quite nicely. So now what I'm going to do is use some of this stained glass offcuts that I've got here and kind of just fill the background in. So I'm kind of like thinking something like that. Yeah, actually that works. And that's the beauty about keeping all those offcuts. You get to use them when you need to. There you go. Because this edge is going to be exposed, I'm going to use my stained glass grinder on the pieces around the edge there. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll do that off camera. And these ones that I haven't done it on, I'm going to use a sanding block, because if this gets handled, I don't want anyone to cut themselves. And it should be fine as it is, but I'm going to do it anyway. Perfect. Now I'm going to get another piece, and I don't want to work with that piece there in case I knock it, so I'm going to go in a different location. Test remove. Oh, I've cut that too much. Yep, that's not going to work. I wonder if it'll work in there. Oh yeah, that works. There you go. If you make a mistake and it doesn't work in one area, it might work in another area. So I'm quite happy about that. All right, well, I'm going to continue on and just fill up this area with tessera for the background, and then we'll be back. Well, I really loved creating this little piece, and I think it's come up really, really good. It's quite cute. Now, I have some MAC glue on some of the tessera there that I need to get off, but I'm going to let that sit for probably about an hour before I go in and remove some of that MAC off the surface there, along with some texture as well. Not a lot of texture on it, but there's just a bit of MAC. So I'm going to go in with a damp rag a bit later, and I'm going to use this tool because this was going to be a great tool because it's quite strong and it's got a flat end on it. So I'm going to go in there with a damp cloth and just get it like that and go in and take some of the MAC off where it is, just on the surface there. It'll clean up really, really well. I don't want to leave it 24 hours because MAC, when it sets up, it is very, very hard to get off the surface of the tessera. So you're better off wiping it as you go or leaving it for a little bit and then going in and taking that MAC off. Okay, now I'm going to grout this heart, and I'm going to be using Litokol Epoxy grout, and this is a waterproof grout. And if you want to know how I mix it up and everything, I've made a tutorial on it, and I'll put a link down in the description box of this video. And all I'm going to do is apply it to the heart, and I've probably got too much there, so I'll put some of that back and just rub it in, and making sure I get into all those nooks and crannies, all those grout lines. What I have to be careful of is I don't actually block up the hole down the bottom there, and just rub it all in and taking my time and go around that edge there. If I wanted to, I could actually mask that edge off and to save getting grout on it, but I'm going to be painting it anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that, but you might want to do that. It's pretty good. Now I'm going to get a damp sponge and some water, and we'll come back and wipe this all off. All right, now to start cleaning this heart, and I have a clean sponge, a damp sponge. I'm going to go in now and just clean that off. Now, water is key for cleaning off the residue, so use a reasonable amount of water. Don't be too afraid of using a bit of water on it, because you really want to get that residue off. And see, that's already coming up really well. And if you find that there's a bit of a drag on your sponge when you're doing your final clean, then the chances are there's still a bit of a residue, and you're going to need to clean that a little bit more, maybe with some more water. And this allows you to go and check in those areas where you want to get out any of the epoxy in there, in those nooks and crannies. Circular motion is key as well. So there's a bit of a drag there, so I need more water. See that mark there? Needs a bit more water there. Clean that off. I might use a new sponge for that one. That's better. The sponges do gunk up, so make sure you have extra sponges just in case you need them. See? And that took off all that mark. And that's what we're after, is if there's any drag, use a bit more water. Okay, that's looking really good. All right, we'll come back when that's getting close to drying, and we will have a little bit of a look at the final clean. But it's 98% there now, so we'll be back. So we're just going to do kind of like a final check. It's looking quite good. There's a bit of grout still in there, so I'm just going to take that out and get the cloth in there. Just rub it out. Yep, that's really good. I don't think there's anything else that needs doing to that. I'm quite happy with it. Now I've painted the sides and the back, and if you are going to do that, you really do need to use a primer to adhere to the PVC before you actually apply your final coat. Because I know that if you don't, this paint can scratch off. Now I've used a good quality acrylic paint, but I know that is going to scratch off this back. So it's just for me, so I'm not concerned about that. But if I was selling these or it was a gift, I would definitely want to apply a primer that's suitable for the PVC and then apply the paint as a top coat. I'm just going to get some painter's tape, just a little bit, put over the hole and that area there, because I know that adhesive may come out. I'm not saying it's going to, but it may come out, and of course that adhesive will mark my paintwork. So I'm better off doing this just as a precaution. And I'm going to get the stake and just push that into where the hole is, like that. Turn it round, and there you go. Doesn't matter if there's a bit of tape that gets into the hole. It's really not going to matter at all. I've got the silicone here, which is a silicone adhesive, and I've got it in a syringe, and then all I'm going to do is just squeeze it in. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to need in this hole, so it is a bit of a guess, but I can always add more, but I don't want to have it overflowing if I can avoid it. So all I'm going to do is just apply a bit of pressure. There we go, that should be enough. And then I'm going to get the stake, put the stake in, and swivel it around. And as you can see, a little bit did come out, but it's not a major issue. And then all I'm going to do is leave this. I might actually just wipe off around there. I might let it set up a little bit first and then wipe it off. But that's why I've got the masking tape here, or the painter's tape, because that's going to protect my paintwork. And I'm going to leave this upright, and then we'll come back when I've taken it all off and then have a final look at the stake. Well, I really enjoyed creating this beautiful mosaic card. It was a fun project to do. I love the reflections from the glass on it as well. And I also really like the bold design, which I think will look good in any pot plant. And as you can see up on screen now, we have the heart in the pot plant, as well as the little birdie that I did on the first video of the garden stakes. And I think they look really quite good together. And like I said earlier, you know, creating them for giveaways, for people, for presents, they would make a great gift. Now, if you're looking for any of the links to the products that I used in this garden stake, or you're looking for the link to the actual original first video I did with the birdie garden stake, then I'll put that down in the description box of this video, and that will take you to it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for coming along and watching me create this beautiful mosaic heart. If you saw value in the video, please share it far and wide. If you have a comment, please drop a comment down in the comment section of the YouTube channel. I enjoy reading them, and my other Treasury Road viewers enjoy reading them as well. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy.